Hi, I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I have worked with troubled children through foster care, and I've also raised my own children. And for years, I've been working with families all over the world. And one issue that is especially troubling to families these days is pornography. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how to tell if your kid is watching pornography. In this video, we're going to be talking about some indicators that your child might be exposed to pornography or regularly watching pornography. And we're going to take it a step further than that and talk about what you can do if your child is in fact watching pornography. And the information that I'm going to share here is going to be good just to prepare for the future, even if you don't have a porn problem at your house yet. Pornography is something that is very difficult on families because it does get to addiction level very quickly. There are a lot of people who just after one or two exposures cannot get the pornography out of their mind and start seeking out more stimulation through pornography. So this is a tricky thing, especially because so many people can be exposed in such innocent ways. So I have noticed on school databases, library databases, places that we think might be safe for our children, there is explicit pornography there. Things that people are finding that their parents will never know about because they are in a database. So they can see those things accidentally while looking up research for a research paper for school. Also, there are, of course, the dreaded pop-ups and other things that get in the way. Well, those pornography one-time instances can actually lead a person to feel like they're being controlled by pornography. Make no mistake, if you are thinking about something again and again, if you are fixating or obsessing on a picture or a particular type of a high or sensation that you want to have, you are being controlled by that substance, whether it's food or gaming or porn. So we don't want our children to be controlled. We want them to be free, right? So let's talk about what to watch for and how to help them be free. Here are some indicators that you're going to want to watch for. Now, I do need to put a disclaimer on these indicators, and that is that not everybody does all of these indicators. They're some of the most common things that we see, but not necessarily every person does these things. Each person is different, and some people are more manipulative than others. In fact, they may recognize that they're acting a little bit differently, and so they may on purpose attempt to lie about how normal they really are by acting totally normal, even when things might not be so normal behind the scenes. One thing you can watch for is eye contact. When a person is obsessing over something, they don't look at you the same way as when they are fully into your relationship. So relationships are often damaged because of addictions, especially pornography addiction. Pornography addiction is something that a person oftentimes feels like, I know I shouldn't do this. This probably isn't a good idea. Now, that isn't society shaming a person, okay? Let's be really clear about that. When they are looking at someone in that way, that is objectification. They are treating another person as if they are an object. This is morally debased. Because of that, a person just innately knows they shouldn't tell anyone about it. They should keep it to themselves. It's something that they shouldn't be doing. But that doesn't mean that the pictures can't still be in their head and that they can't have a craving to see more of it. This is the human condition. Our body always wants more stimulation. Once our brain has been stimulated to think things or feel things it hasn't thought or felt before, it just wants more. So watch for eye contact. They should be able to look at you when you're talking to them and correcting them, especially when you talk about pornography. When you talk about pornography or inappropriate sexual behavior, if they cannot make eye contact with you, that could be an indicator that they have already seen things. When a person is lying or trying to cover something up, they automatically stop looking at you and go, Mom, no, I don't want, Mom, that is so gross. Okay, that's another thing that happens. It's like, ew, oh no, Mom, I would never. That is sick. Mom, if they're telling you how gross it is and they're going on and on about it, chances could be that they're actually trying to cover it up. Now, sure, it could be that they're not able to process that yet, or they just feel uncomfortable about the topic of conversation. But more often than not, when children are going into great detail about how grossed out they are, they're trying to come up with a really good guise so that you don't know what they've already seen. And keep in mind, they might have seen it on accident. It might have popped up at school. A friend might have texted them something or shown them something. Keep in mind that they could feel bad because they thoughts that were objectifying another person, and it wasn't even them who was searching for it at first. Okay? So be open-minded, be understanding, be calm. Super important when you're handling a pornography problem. Before we move on to some of the other indicators that you might have seen, I just want to tell you something. There's no way in this video I am going to be able to cover everything. So a few years ago, I did an event, and it was a digital event online. It was a 3-hour event, and it was called Parenting in a Tech Sexual World. And it goes into detail about some of the things that I'm just touching on here today. It talks about brain development. It talks about skills that your children need to overcome pornography addiction. So you can find Parenting in a Tech Sexual World at teachingselfgovernment.com on the store. Before I get to the other indicators which you are going to want to know, click that subscribe button. There are so many great videos on this channel that are all about self-government, being in control of yourself and regulating yourself so that you can overcome habits and addictions. Subscribe now. Another indicator that your child might be viewing pornography is them going off into secret places a lot. Okay, so lots of times they might find themselves in the bathroom for long periods of time, or in their room changing multiple times a day. Okay, now this can also be an indicator that a person has a sexual addiction, like a masturbation addiction or something like that too. In fact, masturbation and viewing pornography go hand in hand. So if your child is also doing masturbation, then there's a pretty good chance that they might have seen stuff and you need to be talking about that with them. So if your child is going into the bathroom for long periods of time, you're going to want to set time limits for them to be in there. You might also want to create a rule where no digital devices can go into those places, especially if they're trying to find digital devices in the middle of the night and they're trying to hide while they're on a digital device. That means they're either gaming when you don't want them to be gaming, or they're looking at porn or something like that. They're doing something that is nefarious. They're trying to hide from you. It's obvious. So that one's probably a pretty obvious one, but if you get this feeling like they might be doing porn, you've got to follow up on that, because parents are given the gift of having these little inklings and promptings about how to help their children. And sometimes if you question it, it's better just to address it. And when you do address it, you'll want to do it in a special way. We'll be talking about that in just a second. Another indicator is they might feel distant from you. Like they're with you, they're around you, but it seems like they're not really engaging with the group. Sometimes you can even feel a sense of darkness from the person. They might say things that you wouldn't normally hear them say. Maybe more crass language or more abrupt speaking. They might have a short temper. This is also another common indicator for addiction. When people are obsessing over something and can't wait till their next fix, they get a little edgy, right? Testy. Okay, that's what happens to a person when they are struggling with addiction. Another big one is not wanting to go fun places with the group. So let's say that normally the person might want to go to grandma's house and spend some time there swimming in grandma's pool or something like that. And all of a sudden they're like, nah, I don't want to. I'm not in the mood. I just kind of want to stay home. Interesting. Or the family's going to go play a sport that maybe they normally like, but they just don't want to. Most people don't withdraw unless they have something that they are retreating to. Remember that. There's not a reason, a social reason for a person to pull away from good social activities that they have engaged in before, unless they are getting some sort of another chemical fix from something else. And for sure, viewing pornography does lead to a chemical fix. So let's talk about what to do, all right? We need to have open conversation about pornography. That's important. Our children need to know that we are not afraid to talk about anything, even the nitty-gritties of ugly stuff that they might see on pornography. They need to know that we're not going to think bad of them, but we're going to help them so that they are not in bondage to those thoughts and those addictions so that they can overcome them. So what we do is we have regular talks with our children. Now, my children really know porn is bad. In fact, they have heard me talk on international stages about some of the effects of porn on the brain. So they definitely don't want a part of it. It might seem a little bit unnecessary to talk to them every so often, sometimes even every week, about pornography and masturbation and how they're doing with their own self-regulation of those types of cravings. But it's not. Once they get to be a certain age, boys especially by age 14, and girls definitely around that age too, you want to talk to them about some of those sexual cravings and urges, what they mean, what they're going to be for in their lives, and how to have delayed gratification. You're also going to want to say, listen, you can tell me anything. How has it been this week? Have you had any cravings to do anything this week? Have you had any slip-ups? Okay, well, if so, let's talk about how to do better next week. What can we do to help you not get stuck alone so that you don't get tempted to do these things, to look at these things? Parents, we can be proactive by talking up front, but we also would definitely not be doing our job if we assumed that one or two conversations up front was going to handle the problem that was facing our children. No way. It is battling them like none other. They have to win this victory with the power of self-government. And we can help them have that power if we teach them again and again how to set goals, use skills, and then master themselves in the moment when they are getting tempted to do something they know that they don't want to do. If you have liked this information about pornography, talking about it and what the indicators are, I know you are going to enjoy a special event that I created a couple of years ago called Parenting in a Tech Sexual World. That is the world we live in right now. Tech and sexual. It's everywhere and it is attacking our children. So if you would like to see the training Parenting in a Tech Sexual World, go to teachingselfgovernment.com and click shop. It is in the store there and it will help you and your family learn all of the skills that you need to tell pornography no for good.